Norman's Hotel is located in a secluded natural area, surrounded by mountains and forests. The exterior of the hotel is in Gothic style, with excessive decorations that are somewhat anachronistic, giving it a thick and sharp aura. The hotel is surrounded by spear-like iron fences, and the yard is sparsely planted with lifeless trees. This hotel was opened 20 years ago. I heard that its luxurious rooms and cuisines, prepared with local ingredients, were very popular with tourists. However, the hotel had only been in business for less than 5 years and soon closed for good. I wonder if this is because the hotel is located in the middle of nowhere, or if there were other factors. There were continuous suicide cases among the hotel residents, which brought the hotel's reputation down to the bottom. However, what really forced the hotel to close down was actually a murder case. One night, a male resident suddenly shouted and attacked the residents in the other rooms one after another. The man broke the doors with a sledgehammer and then hit the sleeping residents in the beds on their head, killing 13 people overnight. Later, the man confessed after being arrested. "Someone was spying on me from inside the wall. When I screamed, that guy came in and choked my neck. So I fought back. I was just defending myself." The man was hallucinating, thinking that someone behind the wall had attacked him, so he entered the residents' rooms one by one and killed the person behind the wall, or the person in the next room. He hadn't been able to dispel this guy behind the wall hallucination, causing him to kill as many as 13 people. This bizarre murder forced the hotel to close. The hotel then went bankrupt, and eventually all the staff of the hotel disappeared. After that, the building was left unattended for nearly 15 years and became a creepy ruin. Then, under the sky that could snow at any moment, 3 people, me, Kirigiri Kyoko, and Nanomura Suisei, are standing in front of the Norman's Hotel that has been transformed into a stage for the Black Challenge. The entrance door of the hotel was closed, as if hiding its horrible past, waiting for us quietly. After dropping us here, the taxi driver fled away in a flash. Maybe for the locals, the ruins of this hotel are haunted with evil. "Exactly 10 a.m., a wonderful number." Nanomura glanced at his watch and said, 120 hours left. "From now, the deadline will be on 10 a.m. on the first day of the new year," I said. "If we think about the worst possibilities, we might have to spend New Year's Eve in this dangerous place." "Then don't think about the worst. Did you forget my nickname? Allegro Agitato. No detective can match me when it comes to speed in solving cases." "I'm looking forward to your performance." This was my sincere statement. "Then let's enter." Waving his hands like a commander, Nanomura opened the iron gate of the fence and walked forward along the gravel road leading to the hotel entrance. Kirigiri and I followed him. Halfway down the road, I noticed a small signboard stand on the side of the road. I inadvertently glanced at the sign on it. I couldn't help but hold my breath. "Kirigiri-chan, look." I looked at the writing on the metal plate with Kirigiri. "Welcome to Norman's Hotel. We will fulfill any request from our residents." At first glance, it looks very ordinary. But on closer inspection, the word request was painted over with a red marker, and the word despair was written next to it. "Welcome to Norman's Hotel. We will fulfill any despair from our residents." The same thing happened in the previous case. What on earth is going on? Does this mean that this is a game from the Crime Victims Relief Committee? Or maybe it means... Or maybe means what? Maybe it's simply out of fun. Kirigiri had no interest in the sign, and after saying that coldly, she proceeded forward. "We're all putting our lives on the line here, but for those holding the Black Challenge, this is just a game. Maybe they're laughing now, seeing how startled I was. This time they won't get what they want. But will things end smoothly like last time? After all, this time I'm not the detective. I'm just a companion. And the prep time was only 1 day. I borrowed a computer from another student in the dorms and browsed the internet, but found nothing except the history of the hotel. I have no idea what kind of schemes the criminal has planned in the ruins of this hotel." Among the murder weapons, there was a car and a pistol. I wonder what the culprit intends to kill with, I said to Kirigiri. Kirigiri just shrugged and shook her head, without answering anything. She's still wearing her uniform as usual, her expression calm as usual, no different from when she's at school. Not as emotional as me, not as nervous. This little girl is really reliable. After walking the path leading to the hotel entrance, we finally stood in front of it. A double door with thick handles, a kind of door that is probably rare in modern hotels. This door may have been modified by people from the Crime Victims Relief Committee. Nanomura put his hand on the door. It's not surprising that anything could happen further on. There may be traps, and there may be mountains of bodies. Are you both mentally prepared? Yes. I mustered courage to answer. Nanomura threw a wink in response, and then opened the door. Inside the door was a very confined area, to the point that if 3 people went in together, it would be packed to the brim. Maybe it's a small room used as a foyer. Directly in front is another double door. What is the purpose of this small room? It doesn't look like a place for people to change shoes. Well, let's move on. Nanomura took hold of the handles on the door in front. Once the door opened, the view did as well. This was the lobby of the hotel. A huge chandelier is hanging from the ceiling, emitting a dazzling light. I would say that the size of this lobby is about the same as a gymnasium. It's quite spacious. The floor is covered with a fiery red carpet, and in the corners, there are sofas and coffee tables for guests to wait. Although this is a ruin, it doesn't look like a deserted place, and it gives the impression that it has been cleaned quite well. We walked in as we scanned our surroundings, and just then, Wait! Don't close the door! A voice echoed in the lobby. A white-haired man, a little too formally dressed in a tuxedo, standing by the sofa, pointed at us and yelled. What's wrong? I asked him. The distance between me and him is a good 15 meters. The door! Door? I looked back at the door we just entered from. Nothing unusual. The double door was closed firmly. It's too late. The hand of the man in the tuxedo, pointing at us, dropped down feebly. Several other guests are sitting on the sofas. Yui-Oni-sama. Kirigiri held the door handles and shook it back and forth several times. What's wrong? The door won't open. What? I also tried pulling the door handles together. The door seemed to be locked and couldn't be opened. At first glance, there's no keyhole on the door. Is it an automatic lock? That door doesn't look like it can be opened from this side. We're locked up in here. If you just left it open, maybe we could have gotten out. The man in the tuxedo said bitterly, and walked towards us. He's a very old man with white hair and a long beard. The tuxedo he's wearing is well fitted and tasteful, as if he'd come out of an old school picture. 1, 2, 3. That adds up to make 10 people. Another man got up from the sofa. He looks like a pretentious man. He wears a suit and bow tie, is young, of medium height and medium build, probably in his 20s. Is there any detective among you? The man with the bow tie pointed at us and said. How did you know? I couldn't help but ask. Just as I thought. The man grinned with a sudden realization. So, we're finally ready. Could you please explain what's going on? Look at this! The man in the tuxedo handed me a slip of paper. On it was written text in red letters for some kind of explanation. To all distinguished guests attending in the auction, thank you for attending the secret auction we are holding. Please look forward to the unprecedented and exclusive items that will be auctioned. In addition, we'd like to draw your attention to the following. The number of people required to hold the auction is 10. If there are more or less than this number of people, no auction will be held. In addition, there must be a detective among the 10 people. As long as the above 2 conditions are met, the first auction will begin at 6 p.m. on the same day. If the conditions are not met, the auction time will be postponed. Guests who arrive early are requested to wait in the lobby before the auction starts. Urkasam's auction. Auction? I expressed confusion, and the man in the tuxedo also did the same.
Didn't you guys come here to participate in the auction? Here, you didn't receive this?
The old man took out a pitch-black envelope from his jacket pocket. I recognize that seal on that envelope. There's a strange pattern on the red seal. It's the Crime Victims Relief Committee. Please, show it to me.
Sure.
I took the envelope from the man's hand like I was snatching something and examined the contents. Inside the envelope is a thick black piece of paper. Invitation. We would like to inform you, Toyonoo Mitsuru-sama, that you've been approved to participate in 𝘊𝘴𝘵𝘊𝘴's auction. Please arrive at the auction venue at the specified time. Time, December 26th, 5 p.m. Location, Norman's Hotel. Formal attire is required to attend. In addition, the auction will last up to 7 days, so please prepare for your stay. There is no charge for accommodation. 𝘊𝘴𝘵𝘊𝘴's auction. I stared at the card together with Kirigiri, and then nodded to each other to indicate that we have grasped the current situation. It seems that these people were lured to the stage of the Black Challenge in the guise of attending an auction. Using fake invitations to gather victims in one place, the same tactic as the previous case. My English isn't very good, but I found out that 𝘊𝘴𝘵𝘊𝘴 is the word massacre spelled backwards. In other words, this is an auction for the purpose of creating a massacre.
What are you talking about?
The man in the tuxedo was shocked.
You country folks may not have heard about this, but 𝘊𝘴𝘵𝘊𝘴 is a very famous auction house. Second only to Sotheby's and Christie's. At least that's what I've heard.
How was the invitation letter delivered to you? I ignored his words and asked.
There was a small auction somewhere, and an agent of 𝘊𝘴𝘵𝘊𝘴 there invited me. I heard that rare treasures that have never been seen before will be auctioned here, and I've always been interested in that stuff. My hobby is to search for antiques at auctions.
Toyonoo-san, right? You've been duped, I told him bluntly. How can an auction of Sotheby's magnitude be held inside these ruins?
Because it's a secret auction.
Toyonoo seemed annoyed.
I was convinced that the secret auction would be held in such a suspicious place. However, judging from the current situation, we might have really fallen for it. We've been discussing this issue just now.
In addition to both Toyonoo and the man with the bow tie, there were also several men and women in full costumes present. They were probably all tricked by invitations to the secret auction. In any case, as long as you entered, it's over. Just like a trap for catching wild boars. We can't get out of here. Just when we thought it was bad enough and didn't know what to do, suddenly here you are. The man with the bow tie came over and said in an accented tone. Can't get out? Even out of the window? The windows here are all firmly blocked. There's no way to open them at all. Even my muscular arms can't do anything to them. He showed us his smooth and slim arm. What about the windows in other rooms, or at the back door? Unfortunately, you can't go anywhere else but here. There are 4 doors in this lobby, but none of them can be opened. That means you've been locked up here since yesterday? That's right. We somehow managed to get through the night doing whatever. The man with the bow tie opened his arms and sighed.
But now that all 10 people are here, that means the auction will finally begin, correct?
Toyonoo said with bright eyes. If the invitation letter is fake, maybe the auction itself is also fake, right? The man with the bow tie replied. The person who sent the invitations is undoubtedly the criminal of this Black Challenge. However, it's not clear whether they're actually the one who held the auction or not. It's also possible that this is just to lure them in.
If there's no auction, then why are we locked up in here?
How would I know such a thing? The 2 men began to quarrel. I looked at the 2 of them in boredom, thinking about what to say to persuade them. At this moment, Nanomura took a step forward. Calm down, you guys. He waited for a moment until all our attention was focused on him, and then he began to speak. It seems to be a fact that we are locked up in here. In that case, there's only one thing to focus on, and that is to get out of here, isn't it? Nanomura leisurely paced back and forth in the spacious lobby, asking no one in particular. His voice sounded as if he was acting on a stage, probably a way to take the lead.
We've tried many methods,
Toyonoo said, striking his white beard.
However, none of them worked, which is why we have been here since yesterday, waiting all night.
No. All of you haven't yet shown your true capabilities. I'm afraid you all aren't feeling that your lives are in danger. Nanomura walked past the people sitting on the sofa and approached a coffee table placed there. It's a low coffee table with a thick tabletop. He suddenly lifted the coffee table. I wonder what he's thinking. Although the coffee table looks quite heavy, he doesn't seem to be struggling at all. He's unexpectedly strong. Then he moved the coffee table to the wall and smashed it against the wall. The impact sounded like a small crash accident, with fragments flying around. There were screams from the women and gasps from the men. A large hole was opened in the wall with the heavy coffee table. However, the inner wall is made of cement, Nanomura said after sticking his hand into the big hole. You bastard! Why are you suddenly messing around? The man with the bow tie ran over to Nanomura. What the hell's wrong with you? It seems impossible to get out by breaching the wall. Nanomura walked away from the wall with his hands clutching his arms. As expected of Nanomura Suisei, who's known as the Allegro Agitado, his actions are really sudden and extreme. They've been very thorough so as to not give us a chance to escape. I see. If that's the case, escape won't be easy. The criminal doesn't intend to let us out until their goal is achieved. That's what I just said. And what do you mean by criminal? Hey, what's the deal with this criminal? I'll spare you the explanation. Nanomura sat on an unoccupied sofa with his legs crossed. There's still more than 7 hours until 6 p.m., huh? And this is also within the criminal's plan. The worst thing for me in this world is waiting. You plan to wait until the auction begins? I asked him. There's no other way. The criminal has already paved the road, and I don't know where we'll be sent. Why don't we just try to see what the criminal is up to? How can he be so carefree? I leaned over to Nanomura and whispered in his ear. You didn't tell the police what's happening here? Of course. Nanomura gave me a disappointed look. This is a real battle between the detective and the criminal. I would never do that kind of foul action. This is a matter involving human life, I retorted by saying that, and pulled my phone out of my coat. If Nanomura is unreliable, then I'll have to call the police myself. However, when I looked at the phone screen, it showed no signal. Huh? I was still seeing a signal when I got out of the taxi. Cell phone signals seem to be jammed inside this building, said a man sitting on the sofa. This person is bothering me a little ever since I saw him. He's wearing a baseball cap and big frame sunglasses, and he's also wearing a full-set baseball attire. Everyone else is wearing very formal clothes, so this person looks particularly conspicuous. The sunglasses made his face hard to see, but still clear that he is a middle-aged man with a gloomy face. Jammed? It's when the signals are interfered with. By transmitting a signal of the same frequency as the base station, cell phones will get tricked and show no signal. It's generally used in public places like theaters or hospitals. After all, signals are invisible to the eyes. Unfortunately, we've been toyed with by such power before we even noticed. The old man pushed his sunglasses up. That means cell phones aren't useful here? If they were, we wouldn't have spent all night here. The man in the baseball cap shrugged. Calling outside help is out of the question. Is the criminal keeping us here to facilitate control over the course of the case? The game has already started. Everyone came here for the auction? I asked as I watched everyone's faces carefully. They all nodded. Yes. Anyway, new people have come, so let's introduce ourselves. Although we've already did it once before, let's do it again for these newcomers, said the man with the bow tie. Sorry to trouble everyone. Then let's start with me, the man with the bow tie continued. I'm Minase Yuzen, 25 years old and a freelancer. My family is an old noble one, and used to own lots of land. But now I've built an apartment building in the city, and I live by managing it. I live half on family support and half on my own work. But the blood that flows in me is still very exceptional, and one day I'll definitely make a turnaround. Why are you participating in this auction? I usually make some pocket money by reselling things through online auctions. This secret auction was told to me by the person who traded with me last time. And of course he also gave me the invitation. Hey, to be honest, I thought this auction was quite suspicious, but decided to treat it as an offline party, and went to take a look, and it turned out like this. Real fucking great. Judging from his appearance, this young man is quite stylish, but at the same time he also carries a lingering frivolousness. The most appropriate term to use to describe him is probably the second generation of nobles. It feels like his outfit is that of a comedian with his bow tie. In clockwise order, it's your turn next, old man.
Who are you calling old man?
After being called by Minase, Toyonoo, who is the one wearing the tuxedo, responded.
I'm Toyonoo Seiunsai. I'm 59 and a magician.
Magician?
This century's escape master, after Houdini, of course. Don't tell me you didn't know. In water, upside down, bind escape, aerial fire cabin escape, iron ball car smash escape. All are my glorious performances. Don't underestimate me. I am #1 in creating countless miracles with escape magic.
What kind of person says he's #1? Minase started to fuss with him. Have you ever even been on Shoten? In that case, if you say you're some kind of escape master, then you should be able to escape from here.
Hey, show some respect.
He looks a little older than 59, maybe because of his gray hair and beard. Or maybe it's just because he's become one with his stage persona. I wonder if he's forgotten how to not be an entertainer, even after he gets off the stage. By the way, the invitation said Toyonoo Mitsuru, I asked him.
That's my real name, and Seiunsai is the stage name.
I see. I'm Akio Chage, 42 years old, and I don't have much to say about myself. If I have to say something, it'll probably be that I know more about the conspiracies of this world. Chage touched the brim of his baseball cap and lowered his head significantly. He has a standard body shape and relatively tall figure. However, he doesn't look like a sports person, but instead gave an impression of not being very healthy. Why are you participating in this auction? I can't go into too much detail. But anyway, one night, I saw a UFO on the roof of my office building. What? Of course, I took a few shots with my digital camera. It's not the first time I've witnessed UFOs. They were so exciting to get clear pictures that it made me lose my mind a bit. I was thinking about submitting an article to some newspaper, and I unknowingly got a little drowsy. When I came back to my senses, 2 men in black were standing in front of me, staring at me. Who were they? Who knows? The only thing I can say is that they looked like the men in black. They confiscated the digital camera, warned me not to spread the story, and gave me an invitation letter to this auction. We'll give you something nice there as compensation. They said that, and then disappeared. Really? I asked suspiciously. You can believe it or not, up to you. By the way, why are you wearing a baseball outfit? I mentioned the biggest mystery. This is my formal wear. It is? Is he a problematic guy? Better not to get involved with him. Okay, my turn next. The girl in a light green sundress raised her right hand and said, a cheerful girl with a bob-cut hairstyle. Can I even call her an adult girl? Her body is just young and short. I'm Mifune Miriko. I'm 22 years old this year. My hobby is collecting vacuum tubes, which can be used as loudspeakers to listen with. I heard that there are some very special vacuum tubes available here, so I happily ran here. But then I encountered this kind of situation, and now I'm in trouble. She seems to have a unique personality as well. Like her appearance, she also speaks like a little girl, and she doesn't look older than me. Almost 10 years ago, she was a psychic girl, Chage added. Psychic girl? I'm not sure myself, but that's what everyone calls me, Mifune admitted with a smile. When I was very young and eating pudding, I don't know what happened then, but my spoon got bent by itself. Mom and Dad thought it was funny and made me bend a lot of spoons. They even asked me to bend spoons in front of the camera, but I've been wondering why I had to bend spoons. It makes it so much harder to eat pudding with. She was active in front of the public for almost half a year. After that, the media turned their faces and began bashing her, saying she was a fraud doing magic tricks or something, Chage said, pushing his sunglasses up. It's kind of part of the entertainment of common people to stomp on a celebrity. It's really pathetic. Can you still bend spoons now? I asked Mifune enthusiastically. She tilted her head and put on a very serious expression. After a while, her expression suddenly became lively again. I can still do that. You can do it? I have a feeling I can. Just watch. Mirako took out a spoon from her travel bag. I always carry it with me, just in case. Oh, but will it work this time? Minase stared. He said this time, which means she tried before and failed. Mifune held the spoon in her right hand and began rubbing the middle part of the spoon with her thumb. She had a very serious expression. Munya, 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 munya. We swallowed nervously and watched her from the side. Nya! With a weird yell, Mirako opened her eyes suddenly. The spoon is unchanged. It doesn't seem to work. She hung her head in defeat. Like her, I'm also filled with a sense of helplessness. All right, I guess I'm next. The man in the suit spoke in a calmed voice. He's tall and thin, his hair smoothed back neatly, and exuded a sensible and intellectual feeling. At first glance, he seems to be the most decent among this group of people. But the deep wrinkles between his brows makes him look like he's hiding the deepest of secrets. I'm Shinsen Mikado, a business employee. Shinsen-san, why did you come to this auction? No, I have no interest in the auction. Then why are you here? Because I saw it. You saw it? Fate, I guess you could say. Or you could say it's an ominous premonition. The dream of the living world. Although I'm no soothsayer or prophet or anything, I can see the deaths that have happened and the deaths that will. It just made me curious, so I dropped by and here I am. You can see death? It doesn't have to be death. It's just a terrible omen in most cases. He used a calm voice and a composed expression to lightly describe that creepy bit. What exactly did you see? It's not that I saw something specifically. It's not a physical entity, after all. It's just that if I have to explain it visually, you can imagine like a dark shadow. And the shape of that dark shadow is what you fear most. Listening to Shinsen's words, Mifune began to break cold sweat, and her body trembled slightly. The others also looked suspicious, looking at Shinsen from a distance. I can't completely deny Shinsen's words. If you ask me why, it's because I know someone who feels the same as him. Kirigiri Kyoko. She also has the ability to sense danger and death around her in advance. She explained this ability as hearing the footsteps of the Shinigami. Although I don't know if it's actually a sound that is perceived through hearing, but this kind of ability in Shinsen seems to be a visual version of that. And his senses are correct. The ruins of this hotel are not only the site for brutal murders in the past, but also the stage for the Black Challenge, where murders may happen at any time. I hope I'm just being paranoid. Shinsen lowered his head and smoothed his hair back. Although he himself denied it, it looks like he isn't a diviner, but more of a psychic. His serious expression seems to have witnessed countless dark and negative things in this world.
He didn't come as an auctioneer. Does that mean he still counts?
Toyinoo said with a troubled face. No one knows this answer except the criminal who secretly controls this situation. So, of course, no one answered him. The next woman, she's sitting lazily, half leaning against the armrest of the sofa. In clockwise order, it should be her turn to introduce herself, but she kept her head down as if she was asleep. She has beautiful long black hair, and her open chest and thighs exude a coquettish smell. Upon closer inspection, the clothes she's wearing are morning wear. Yozuru-san, it's your turn, Shinsen said to her. So she lazily propped up her upper body and tucked her hair. Thank you for waking me up. I was almost at the height of my death wish. Yozuru glanced at us with sleepy eyes. Newcomers are here again. Huh. I'm starting to feel like dying again. Together we're 10 people. The auction is about to start? I think so, Shinsen said without looking at Yozuru. Really? In that case, will this help my dead husband to rest in peace? I didn't know what to say. Yozuru seemed to sense my unease and said,
My name is Yozuru Sai. My husband passed away not long ago, and I'm now alone. He left me the invitation letter to this place before he died.
Did your husband explain anything to you about it?
No.
Yozuru closed her eyes sadly and said,
My husband is a taciturn man. Because of that, I want to know what he always wanted, so I came here.
As she talked, she fell into silence as if she had fallen asleep. Her arms stretched out randomly, and on her wrists, which were exposed through the cuffs of her morning dress, several cuts could be seen. The cuts tell everything about her past. At this point, 6 self-introductions are over. The one remaining person. The 7th person is a girl, wearing a very maid-like dress apron. Her hair is about shoulder length with medium-length bangs, long eyelashes, and pale skin. At first glance, she looks like a gothic Lolita, but her makeup and decorations are very simple, so it seemed to be just a dress for work.
I have been commissioned by the auctioneer to come here to provide daily life services for you. My name is Uozumi Taihime, 20 years old.
She spoke in a hoarse voice and used a male tone. It's not bad, and it's not that annoying either. Are you not a guest here for the auction?
Yes. However, I heard that I can also participate in the auction.
How did you accept the commission?
The other party sent me a letter of commission. I have 2 tasks to do. Preparing 3 meals and cleaning the rooms. That's all.
The criminal of this black challenge hired a maid. In order for the crime plan to proceed smoothly, she's probably an essential pawn. Although this is a ruin, it looks like food and lodging are guaranteed. I can't help but breathe a sigh of relief. I'd stuffed a lot of nutritious cookies in my backpack before coming here, just in case. The Black Challenge is a cruel, bloody deduction game, but at the same time, an entertainment show, so it must have a fair foundation. If it's only for revenge, no matter how despicable the act is, the criminal should be able to do it somehow, and it's only natural to kill us by poisoning our food, locking us up and letting us starve to death, or taking advantage of our sleep and beating us to death, then turn around and escape. All that's possible. However, the audience won't be interested in that. The reason why the detective is deliberately summoned is also for this reason of maintaining fairness, I think. I looked around me. The whole process of the Black Challenge is being filmed by hidden cameras. I don't know if it's being live broadcast or recorded and edited, but in any case, someone is watching us now, and we're treated as characters in that game. Of course, I couldn't find where the cameras are. I heard that the cameras are very small and cleverly hidden. Hopefully the cameras aren't installed in the toilet or bathroom. It's your turn next, newcomers. Minase pointed at me and said,
Yes, we must also introduce ourselves. Before that, please wait a moment.
I ran to Nanamura and whispered a few words to him.
Can you explain the situation to them?
I don't mind. Rather, I should be the one asking you to do that, so I can save myself the trouble.
Okay. This is what's happening. We're detectives and came here to catch the criminal.
I explained the reason why we came to Norman's hotel in front of everyone. However, I purposely avoided talking about the Black Challenge and the Crime Victims Relief Committee, because I thought it's better to keep the information known only by the criminal for the time being. I briefly told everyone,
We've received a notice of a crime, and the notice mentioned that a murder can take place here.
I don't quite understand what you mean. Minase murmured. Simply put, you're here to save us?
That's the short version.
But now you're also locked up like us.
We didn't expect things to turn out like that.
And you call yourselves detectives? Minase's words stung me. I think he didn't mean to be malicious, but maybe we should have indeed been more cautious about it. Is it possible that the crime notice was just a prank? Chage asked.
Unfortunately, I don't think that's possible. The criminal will definitely take action before New Year's Eve.
Speaking of the new year, it's almost 5 days away.
Toyonoa counted on his fingers.
Does that mean we're going to be locked here until then?
Yes.
I tried my best to look calm and answered him. We can't afford to confuse them.
But please, rest assured. Since we're here, we won't let any crime happen. Anyway, Nanamura-san, and the girl over there, we're all very good detectives.
That shorty is also a detective? That's right. Kirigiri was silent with a sullen and upset expression, so I explained instead for her. As long as she's around, there's no way the criminal's evil plan will succeed. What? Is this kid even reliable? Is my superpower more reliable than her? Mifune sat on the sofa and said with her legs swinging around. She was still trying to bend the spoon. I can guarantee that she is absolutely talented. I sure hope so, Minase interrupted. Then again, I don't know if we can believe you guys. Maybe you just came here to cause trouble. You want the auction to fail, right? That's not true. Don't underestimate us. My DSC rank is 7. I still have a detective library card. And she's from the prestigious Kirigiri family. Yui Onisama, you don't have to say all that. Kirigiri interrupted me. She brushed her hair behind her ear and continued. Did you forget? This time we're just one of the participants in the game. Just ordinary high school and middle school girls. That's right. The real detective is that man over there. Kirigiri pointed to Nanomura. If you want help with something, instead of coming to us two, you should go to him. Wait, Kirigiri-chan, don't just give up on responsibility like this. No, it's true, because he's the one with the detective's privilege. Detective's privilege? She's referring to the rules in the Black Challenge. The detective is an important and indispensable role in the game. That means he can't be killed. He's the only one here whose personal safety is guaranteed. Absolutely. Leave everything to me. Nanomura raised his arm high and snapped his fingers. Everyone's eyes focused on him in an instant. Even Minase and the others, who were originally skeptical, couldn't find words to refute facing Nanomura. This is the so-called power of charisma. What should we do next, Detective-san? Minase asked in an agitated manner. Let's follow the prior plan and wait for the auction to start. So you're telling us to stay like this until 6 o'clock? If you feel bored, why don't we just play a game of basketball? This place is spacious enough, and the number of people can be divided into 5 people on each side. Of course, even if it's just a basketball game, I won't lose. It's not like there's a basketball hoop here, Minase replied with a laugh from his nose. Really, we've been waiting here for a whole day. We almost went crazy killing time like this. Then I suggest you move your body a bit. Sitting still on the sofa all day long is not good for your health. Moreover, if you move quickly, the world around you will change accordingly, and time will flow faster. This is a conclusion based on the theory of relativity, and I think it's well worth trying. What? I don't understand what you mean. What are you even talking about, dude? It was as if there was no way for Nanomura and Minase to have a conversation. During all this, time passed minute by minute. Talking gibberish can also be an effective way to pass time. You guys came here yesterday? I asked, not targeting a single person. How did you solve the food problem? There's dry food in the closet at the reception desk. Uozumi, the one wearing the maid costume, replied. The amount of dry food is enough for everyone to eat for 7 days. Last night we each ate in an amount of 1 meal. May I ask what kind of orders you received at the start? There was only one sentence. Stand by at the location. There were no specific instructions for me here. Only a note with red letters on it, the contents of which I have just mentioned. This current situation is weird, I said, holding my arms. This time, the Black Challenge is very strange. The criminal wants the case to unfold at their own pace. I still can't figure out what's going on. I walked past the place where the sofa is and stood next to Kirigiri. How about it, Kirigiri-chan? I don't know anything yet. Kirigiri shrank her neck and sighed. As Nanomura-san said, we'll have to wait until 6 p.m. She said this and then sat down where she was, looking like she has no intention of communicating with the others. Her lack of cooperation is probably her biggest weakness. I felt restless and decided to investigate the lobby alone. As Minase said, there are doors in several directions, but each one is tightly closed, and there's no keyhole on any of the doors. They look very strong, and probably can't be broken without a large tool like an axe or a hammer. I checked the reception desk. As Uezumi said, there is lots of food stored in it. It looks like we won't die of hunger. There are also 5 boxes of mineral water containing 24 bottles each. A sign is hung on the wall behind the reception desk that states the area structure of the hotel. Norman's Hotel. 5th floor, observation room. 4th floor, guest rooms 401 to 412. Third floor, guest rooms 301 to 312. Second floor, guest rooms 201 to 212. First floor, reception lobby, cafeteria. There's an observation room on the 5th floor, but we can't get out of the lobby, so we can't get there yet. There's also a very small room inside the reception. I looked inside, and there's a small office, probably the staff room for the hotel's employees. There's nothing but desks. Further inside, there's a small door. I didn't think it would open, but when I touched the doorknob, the door opened easily. It's the toilet. Thank God. That's one of my concerns resolved. I was about to come out of the toilet when someone approached and forcibly pushed me into the toilet. Then they closed the door with their backhand and locked it. Wait! I'm being locked up. Be quiet. A charming husky voice. It's Uezumi in the maid costume. What are you trying to do? I complained quietly. We stared at each other in such a small place, we're almost pressed together. I don't mean to hurt you. She took out a small card from her apron pocket. That's a detective library registration card. Uezumi Taihime, DSC number 756. What? I'm a detective too. Is that so? Just in case, show me your card too. Okay. I showed her my detective library card that I kept in a card holder. Confirmed. You can put it away. I did as I was told. The others don't know that I'm a detective. I thought that the detective mentioned in the instructions letter, written in the red letters, was me. But it seems that's not the case. It's a good thing I didn't reveal my identity before all 10 people arrived. Are you conducting an undercover investigation? Something like that. This one-piece apron is from here. I'm wearing it according to the instructions. Definitely not my hobby. Uezumi tugged the hem of the apron and straightened it out. Are you investigating the Black Challenge? Never heard of that. Then what on earth are you investigating? Among the classification numbers of the detective library, the first number indicates the detective's area of expertise. 7 is for art crimes. My field of expertise is mainly fraud cases related to forgeries. Forgeries, huh? I've been tracking down Toyonoo for the past few months. That old grandpa? You have to be careful of him. Don't look at him like he's kind. In fact, he's a con man. He has scammed huge sums of money from many victims. A con man? Yes, the magician identity is his public face. He's actually a con artist selling forgeries. After I knew he was going to attend this auction, I contacted the auctioneer and infiltrated here as a maid. However, I didn't expect that even the auction itself is a trap. Is the crime notice you mentioned just now true? Yes. I briefly explained the Black Challenge situation. Since this maid is actually a colleague, it should be okay to say this much. A criminal organization is also getting involved. Uezumi put her hand on her mouth and thought for a while. Maybe Toyonoo is the criminal. If that's the case, things will be much simpler. Has Toyonoo-san done anything suspicious lately? No notable movements. If Toyonoo-san is really the criminal, I think he would have come here at least several times. And there should be other preparations for the Black Challenge. I've been monitoring him 24/7 for the past month. This is his first time here. Of course, it's possible that he was already preparing for the Black Challenge before I started monitoring him. That's true, I guess. Anyway, Toyonoo is my responsibility. You don't have to concern yourself with him. I stopped you to tell you this. I understand. I won't interfere. If we get any useful info, let's just share it with each other. Uezumi stretched out her right hand. I accepted her offer and shook hands with her. Her hand is undoubtedly that of a girl. If we go out together, we might be suspected. You go first. I nodded and walked out of the toilet. I walked out of the reception desk with an unconcerned face and returned to the lobby. No one noticed it, probably because I was quite far away from where the sofa is placed. I feel my mind is getting more and more confused, and I walked around the lobby while holding my head in my hand. Another detective who infiltrated the Black Challenge and a con man. Could there be a connection? Or is it just a coincidence? I went back to where Kirigiri is and sat down next to her. Did you find anything? Kirigiri asked with a tentative look. With a very heavy heart, I shook my head, admitting my failure. Kirigiri adjusted her sitting posture, hugging her knees, resting her chin on her knees with a "see, I told you" look on her face. It's annoying, but she looks so cute, I forgive her. I decided not to say anything about Detective Uezumi, because it doesn't seem right to go around talking about the detective who's conducting an undercover investigation. Almost an hour has passed since we got stuck here. There's still a long time after that. Will the auction be held or not? And what does the criminal want?